The death of 29-year-old TikTok creator Sonia Bellina has sent shockwaves through France and the online world after her body was discovered in an isolated vineyard in southern France. Bellina, who reportedly had more than 250,000 followers on TikTok and was also active on other social media platforms, disappeared on August 10 while in southern France. 2 days later, a farm worker made a horrifying discovery among the rows of vines in St. Gilles, near Nimes. Authorities quickly launched a criminal investigation. The circumstances surrounding the discovery, including reports that Bellina's body was naked and partially burned, have led French prosecutors to investigate her death as a suspected murder. At this stage, however, investigators have not publicly identified a suspect, announced an arrest, or established a definitive motive. That uncertainty has left Bellina's family searching for answers, while police work to reconstruct what happened during her final hours. A disappearance that ended in tragedy. According to reports, Bellina told her sister on the evening of August 10 that she was going out. She never returned. For her family, the disappearance immediately became a nightmare. What began as concern over a missing loved one escalated into something far more devastating when authorities discovered a woman's body in a remote vineyard. The location was in St. Gilles in France's Gard department, an area known for its vineyards and rural landscape. The body was discovered on August 12, with reports describing it as partially burned. Investigators subsequently worked to establish the victim's identity. DNA testing reportedly confirmed that the deceased woman was Bellina. The discovery prompted a significant police response, with dozens of officers reportedly deployed to secure and examine the scene. For investigators, the vineyard itself could potentially contain critical evidence: traces left behind by a vehicle, fingerprints, DNA, discarded objects, tire marks, or other clues capable of helping establish who was there and when. Why police are treating the death as murder? Authorities have not publicly released a complete account of how Bellina died. That is important because many details circulating online remain unconfirmed. What is known is that investigators are treating the death as a criminal case rather than an accidental death. The condition and location of the body have raised serious questions about what happened before she was found. The reported burning of the body is particularly significant to investigators because such an act could potentially represent an attempt to destroy evidence or conceal the victim's identity. French authorities have therefore begun a murder inquiry, with the investigation being handled under the direction of prosecutors in Nimes. An autopsy is expected to provide investigators with additional information about Bellina's cause and circumstances of death. That forensic examination could become one of the most important steps in the investigation. It may help establish whether Bellina suffered injuries before her death, whether she was killed at the vineyard or transported there, and potentially whether investigators can identify evidence linking another person to the crime. Until those findings are made public, it would be irresponsible to assume a particular method of killing or identify a perpetrator. Her family believes she may have encountered the wrong person. Bellina's family has publicly expressed fears that she may have encountered someone dangerous on the night she disappeared. Her sister reportedly told French media that Bellina could have run into the wrong guy at the wrong time. The statement reflects the family's anguish, but it should not be interpreted as evidence identifying a suspect. Investigators will have to establish Bellina's movements independently through evidence such as phone records, surveillance footage, witness accounts, vehicle information, and forensic evidence. One of the biggest questions will be what happened between the moment Bellina left and the discovery of her body. Where did she go? Who did she meet? Was she alone? How did she reach the vineyard? And did someone deliberately bring her there? Those questions could become central to the investigation. A social media personality suddenly gone. Bellina's death has also attracted enormous attention because of her presence on social media. She reportedly had more than 250,000 followers on TikTok and was known online under the name Mia as well as Sonia Bellina. Reports indicate that she had built a significant following through her posts and online presence. Her online audience has now become part of the story surrounding her death. That can be both helpful and dangerous in a high-profile investigation. Social media accounts can provide investigators with timelines, photographs, videos, locations, and information about relationships and acquaintances. Posts may establish when someone was somewhere or reveal interactions that could eventually become relevant to detectives. But social media can also generate misinformation at extraordinary speed. In Bellina's case, her family has specifically condemned an online wave of rumors, speculation, and abusive comments following her death. Her relatives reportedly said that people were using her photographs and making cruel statements about her. Their lawyer, Murad Batik, has also warned that the family is taking steps to document online material and potentially report it to platforms. That response highlights an increasingly familiar problem in modern murder investigations. A case can become a worldwide mystery within hours. People who have never met the victim can begin investigating the case themselves, posting theories and naming people who may have absolutely nothing to do with the crime. For a grieving family, that can create another layer of suffering. For investigators, it can also complicate the search for reliable information. The danger of online speculation. The Bellina case is still in its early stages. There are no publicly confirmed arrests connected to the investigation at the time of reporting, and authorities have not announced a suspect. That means theories circulating on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and other platforms should be treated extremely cautiously. A person appearing in one of Bellina's photographs does not make that individual a suspect. A person who exchanged messages with her does not automatically have anything to do with her death. And an alleged rumor about a meeting, relationship, or argument cannot substitute for evidence. The distinction matters because a murder investigation is ultimately about establishing facts that can withstand scrutiny in court. Investigators will need to determine what happened, while prosecutors will need evidence capable of supporting any eventual charges. Bellina's family was preparing for her 30th birthday. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking details to emerge is that Bellina's family was preparing to celebrate her upcoming birthday. She would have turned 30 on September 30. Instead of planning a birthday celebration, her relatives are now waiting for answers about her death. Her sister described Bellina as a radiant and kind person who was loved by those around her. That contrast between plans for a milestone birthday and the sudden end of a young woman's life has made the case particularly painful for those who knew her. Behind the social media following was a daughter, sister, and family member whose loved ones are now forced to deal with an unimaginable loss. What investigators will be looking for the next phase of the investigation could involve a painstaking reconstruction of Bellina's final movements. Detectives may examine mobile phone data to determine where her device traveled. They may look for security camera footage from roads, businesses, and nearby properties. Vehicles could become particularly important if investigators determine that Bellina was transported to the Vineyard. Forensic specialists may examine the scene for DNA, fibers, fingerprints, or other trace evidence. Investigators will also likely speak with anyone who knew Bellina, including friends, relatives, and people she may have encountered during her final days. The Vineyard itself could prove crucial. A rural location may appear isolated, but it can also leave investigators with physical evidence that would not exist in a heavily trafficked urban environment. Tire tracks, footprints, discarded items, or disturbed vegetation could potentially help establish how someone entered or left the area. And if investigators determine that Bellina died somewhere else and was transported to the Vineyard, that could dramatically change the direction of the case. The unanswered questions. For now, the case revolves around unanswered questions rather than confirmed conclusions. Bellina disappeared on August 10. Her body was discovered 2 days later. Authorities have launched a murder investigation. Her identity has reportedly been confirmed through DNA testing. But the public still does not know exactly what happened between those events. That is what investigators must now establish. The crucial timeline may eventually reveal whether Bellina met someone voluntarily, was followed, was abducted, or encountered a person she already knew. Those possibilities remain investigative questions, not established facts. A family asking for answers and restraint as the investigation continues. Bellina's relatives are facing two battles at once: the search for justice and the flood of online speculation surrounding her death. Their request for restraint is significant. A murder investigation should ultimately be driven by evidence rather than internet theories. The people closest to Bellina deserve accurate answers, and investigators need the freedom to follow evidence wherever it leads. French authorities have not publicly announced an arrest in connection with the case. For now, the investigation remains active. The vineyard where Bellina was found has become the center of a mystery that began with a simple message from a young woman telling her family she was going out, and ended with a devastating discovery 2 days later. Her family had been preparing to celebrate her 30th birthday. Instead, they are waiting for investigators to explain how a 29-year-old woman with a large online following came to be dead in a remote vineyard in southern France. Until police determine who was responsible and why, the case remains an unanswered tragedy. And for Sonia Bellina's family, the only thing that matters now is getting the truth. Reporting note: details in this story reflect information publicly reported as of August 19, 2026. Some claims circulating online remain unverified, and no suspect should be considered responsible unless investigators or a court establish that fact.
Adventure starts with the right gear, and it all starts at shackshop.us. From stylish women's swimsuits and premium camping tents to paddleboards, underwater drones, and dependable dinghies, we have everything you need for your next outdoor adventure. Whether you're exploring the water or relaxing on shore, gear up with quality products at unbeatable prices. Visit shackshop.us today and make every adventure